The essence of this book has a lot to do with internal qualities. You talk about integrity, you talk about follow through, you talk about sacrifice, struggle. What is the place of all these internal qualities in restoring hope?
Well, I think it's a way of trying to forever remind us of those who came before, who helped transmit to us a tradition of struggle. But we are at the point now where the market culture has so thoroughly shaped who we are. It has disassembled and reassembled our souls to such a degree that we can look at Martin Luther King Jr. and view him as an icon on a pedestal rather than a freedom fighter in a tradition that's live, vibrant, vital. And to talk about restoring hope, or to talk about hope at all, is to talk about a focus on this tradition of struggle, of sacrifice, of service.
And of institution building.
Of institution building, infrastructure building, and so forth. Absolutely right.
If we look at a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X or whomever, a Frederick Douglass, and say, put him on a pedestal and leave him there, it speaks to a basic failing within the group to have created a form of institutional leadership that does not grow old, cannot be bought off, and does not die. In other words, we do not inculcate and pass on to our people, our children, the ability to come behind, grow up in, and lead as a result of.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. And we're living in a moment in which we've got the largest generation gap in the history of Black America ever. You see, we got a group of young folk who are creative, hungry, thirsty, but so shaped by market culture that their relation to their past is more and more distant. That King looks like he's a figure in a museum rather than someone who is similar to someone they know in their own lives. And you know, one of the ironies of history is that you have a deep sense of history most when you're making history. And when you're not making history, when you don't view yourself as part of a social movement, a social motion that's bringing power and pressure to bear, then that history becomes more far-fetched and more distant. And we've been in an ice age in America in the last 30 years with the moral indifference of so much social misery. Profits up 205% in corporate America, but stagnating wages. CEO salaries up 499% since 1980, but stagnating wages. What's going on? Well, it's not just corporate greed and managerial greed. It's in part that. But it's that we don't have strong democratic mechanisms of accountability from below that would ensure that this wealth inequality doesn't continue to escalate, you see. And that makes people, you know, much more selfish, and makes people much more suspicious of any common activity, let alone public action.